Signals in the static. True stories from the edge of reality. Have you ever felt a ripple in the fabric of your ordinary life? A moment so strange, so out of place, that it made you question what's real? Maybe it was a dream that came true, a number that kept following you, or a feeling you couldn't explain. Most of us brush these moments aside, chalking them up to coincidence or imagination. But what if they are signals, faint transmissions from the edge of reality, waiting for someone to notice? The stories you are about to hear are not fiction. They actually happened. Each one is a true account, shared anonymously, but experienced as vividly as any memory. Woven together, they form a single thread, the sense that the world is far stranger and more connected than we are taught to believe. You will not see faces or names here. Instead, you will find echoes of intuition, premonition, and the mysterious loops that shape our lives. As you watch, ask yourself, have you ever experienced something you could not explain? Are you tuning into the signals and the static? Chapter 1. Hearing the unspoken. There are moments when the ordinary world seems too thin and something stranger seeps through. For some, this begins with a subtle shift in perception, a sense that the thoughts of others are not as private as they seem. Imagine sitting in a crowded room, the hum of conversation all around, when suddenly you become aware of thoughts that are not your own. Not every thought, not a constant stream, but only those that concern you directly. The words come with the tone and cadence of the person thinking them, as if their inner voice has found a way to echo in your mind. This is not a story made up for effect. It actually happened. At first, it is easy to dismiss. Maybe it is just intuition or a trick of the imagination, but the experience is vivid, unmistakable, and impossible to prove. You look around, searching for a sign that someone else has noticed, but everyone carries on as if nothing has changed. The world feels both more connected and more isolating, as if you have stumbled onto a frequency that no one else can hear. Over time, you learn to live with it, to let the whispers fade into the background. But the memory lingers, a reminder that reality is not always as solid as it seems. Chapter 2. Premonitions and Intervention. Dreams are meant to be private, ephemeral things, fragments of memory and imagination that dissolve with the morning light. However, sometimes a dream feels different. It arrives with a clarity and weight that sets it apart from the usual nighttime wanderings. In the dream, you see a scene unfold, a hallway, a fight, a flash of violence. The details are sharp, the emotions real. You wake unsettled, unable to shake the feeling that you have glimpsed something important. This is not a hypothetical. This dream and what followed actually happened. You tell your friends about the dream, half joking, half hoping for reassurance. They laugh it off, and you try to do the same. But weeks later, the scene replays itself in waking life. The hallway, the fight, the knife, it all happens just as you saw it. This time, though, you recognize the moment. You act, pushing a hand, changing the outcome. What was supposed to be a tragedy becomes a narrow escape. The sense of déjà vu is overwhelming, and you are left wondering, was it fate, coincidence, or something else entirely? The experience leaves you with more questions than answers, and a lingering sense that the boundaries between dream and reality are not as firm as you once believed. Chapter 3. The Instinct for Truth. As the years pass, you notice another pattern emerging, a heightened instinct for truth. It is not mind reading, not a supernatural gift, but a subtle sense that reveals itself in certain moments. When someone lies, you feel it, a resonance, a dissonance, a pattern that does not fit. Sometimes you can almost see the shape of the truth behind the words, as if your mind is filling in the gaps with surprising accuracy. This is not a theory. It is a real lived experience. This ability is unpredictable. It does not appear on command, and it is not always reliable. But when it does surface, it is unmistakable. You find yourself navigating conversations with a quiet confidence, trusting your intuition even when there is no evidence to support it. Over time, you learn to listen to this inner sense, to let it guide you through the complexities of human interaction. It is both a gift and a burden, a reminder that the truth is often hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. Chapter 4. Channeling the Hidden. There are moments when the boundary between minds seems to blur, when words surface that were never meant to be spoken. You find yourself in conversation, and suddenly, a phrase slips out. Something deeply personal, something the other person has never shared. Their reaction is immediate: shock, confusion, sometimes fear. They ask how you knew, and you have no answer. The words came unbidden, as if you were channeling their thoughts without realizing it. This is not a story from a book. It actually happened, and it left a mark. These incidents are rare, but they leave a lasting impression. They remind you that connection can run deeper than words, that sometimes we pick up on signals we do not consciously understand. The experience is unsettling, both for you and for those around you. It challenges your sense of self, your understanding of privacy, and your belief in the separateness of individual minds. In the aftermath, you are left with a sense of wonder and unease, and a growing awareness that the world is full of mysteries that defy explanation. Chapter 5. The Shadow Release. Some experiences are so strange, so far outside the realm of the ordinary, that they resist all attempts at explanation. One night, you come home from work, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace. You sit down, and a compulsion takes hold, a need to arch your back, to move in a way that feels both natural and impossible. As you do, you feel something shift inside you. 6 dark, human-shaped figures emerge from your chest, each making a distinct popping sound as they leave. They float away, silent and orderly, gliding down the hallway and out the front door. This event is not a metaphor. It happened exactly as described. The experience is vivid, lucid, and entirely real. You are calm throughout, observing the event with a sense of detachment and clarity. When it is over, you are left trying to make sense of what happened. Was it a release of something you had carried for too long, a metaphysical cleansing, or something beyond your understanding? You search for similar stories, for forgotten cultures that might offer an explanation, but find nothing. In the end, you accept the mystery, carrying it with you as a reminder that reality is stranger than fiction. Chapter 6. Patterns and Numbers. After a profound loss, the world seems to shift. Grief has a way of opening doors to the unexpected, and for a time, you begin to notice numbers everywhere. Every time you look at a clock, the same patterns appear: 11:11, 22:22, 13:13, 21:21, and so on. The repetition is relentless, growing stronger and more frequent, until it becomes impossible to ignore. You wonder if it is just your mind searching for meaning, or if there is a message hidden amidst the numbers. This is not a coincidence invented for a story. It is a real phenomenon, experienced day after day. The phenomenon lasts for a year, intensifying, until you finally ask it to stop. After that, the numbers fade, but they never disappear completely. Occasionally they reappear, a quiet reminder of that strange period in your life. You remain uncertain. Was it coincidence, selective attention, or something more? The experience leaves you with a heightened awareness of patterns, and a sense that the universe sometimes speaks in ways we do not fully understand. Chapter 7. Compelled to prepare. Now sometimes, a quiet compulsion drives you to act without knowing why. Over the course of 5 years, you find yourself building an orchard, digging holes, planting trees, tending to the land. You only plant when you are in a good mood, never forcing the process. The work is hard, the reasons unclear, but the urge is undeniable. It feels as if you are preparing for something, though you cannot say what. Next, you find yourself planting every type of perennial fruit and vegetable you can find. This is not a parable. The orchard exists, and the compulsion was real. As the years pass, the world around you begins to change. A sense of impending collapse grows stronger, an unshakable feeling that society is on the brink of transformation. Looking back, you realize that the orchard was more than a project. It was a form of preparation, a way of grounding yourself in the face of uncertainty, a form of stockpiling food and water supplies you never knew you needed, till precarious times arrive at your door. The compulsion makes sense in hindsight, as if some part of you knew what was coming long before your conscious mind caught up. Chapter 8. The Signal Sent. In the end, these experiences form a pattern, a resonance that echoes through your life. You realize that you are not alone in feeling the world is stranger than it seems. There are others out there, quietly carrying their own stories, searching for connection and understanding. By sharing your story, you send a signal out into the dark, hoping for an echo, a reply, a sign that someone else understands. These are not tales for entertainment. They are true stories, lived and remembered. You reflect on the nature of the soul, wondering if it is simply the manifestation of resonance learned, a pattern that grows, changes, and endures. Perhaps in the end, the world is not just stranger, but more beautiful than we ever imagined. The loops and cycles of experience, the moments of connection and mystery, all add up to something greater, a quiet hope that, somewhere out there, someone else is listening. Chapter 9. Tuning in. As these true stories settle in your mind, maybe you notice something shifting, a sense that the world is a little wider, a little deeper than it seemed before. The signals in the static are not just strange events to be solved or explained away. They are reminders that life is full of questions, and that sometimes, the most meaningful moments are the ones we cannot quite define. Maybe you have felt something like this yourself, a fleeting intuition, a pattern you could not ignore, a moment that made you pause and wonder. If so, you are part of this story too. These experiences connect us, quietly, across distance and time. The journey does not end with these stories. It continues every time someone notices a ripple in their own life and chooses to listen, to reflect, or to share. Maybe that is the real message in the static, that we are all tuning in, searching for meaning, and sending out our own signals, hoping for a reply. So as you step back into your day, carry this with you. You're not alone in your questions. You are not alone in your wonder. Somewhere someone else is listening too.